Long ago, in the age when gods ruled the heavens and shadows ruled beneath the earth, there lived a young goddess named Persephone. She was the daughter of Demeter, goddess of harvest and life. Wherever Persephone walked, flowers bloomed beneath her feet, rivers sparkled brighter, and spring seemed to follow her like a blessing. She lived peacefully beside her mother in endless gardens filled with roses and golden sunlight. Birds sang around her, and laughter filled the warm air of Olympus. The gods called her the brightest jewel of heaven. Someone watched her from the darkness. Hades, king of the underworld, had ruled alone for thousands of years. Feared by gods, avoided by mortals, he sat upon a black throne, surrounded by wandering souls and endless silence. No warmth entered his kingdom. No laughter touched his halls. Though he ruled over death itself, loneliness had become his greatest curse. One day, through a shadow portal between worlds, Hades saw Persephone dancing. Among the flowers of earth, her laughter echoed like music. Through the darkness, and for the first time in eternity, something changed inside the cold king's heart. He could not stop thinking about her. Soon, Hades began visiting the surface world in secret. At first, he only watched Persephone from afar, a dark figure standing beyond the gardens. But slowly he came closer, trying to speak to her, trying to understand the light she carried within her. Yet Persephone feared him. Whenever she saw the god of death approaching, her smile disappeared. Sometimes she turned away from him without speaking. Sometimes she fled in fear. Still, Hades continued returning, not with threats or cruelty, but with quiet hope that one day she would truly see him. One evening, as the sun disappeared behind the hills, Hades appeared before Persephone, holding a glowing red pomegranate in his hands. "A gift," he said softly, "a piece of my world." The crimson seeds shimmered like drops of blood beneath the fading light. In the underworld, the pomegranate was sacred, a symbol of connection between souls. But Persephone's fear became anger. "You frighten me," she cried. She struck the fruit from his hand, and the pomegranate shattered upon the ground. Hades did not stop her. He simply stood there in silence, watching her disappear into the light while darkness closed around him once more. Back in the underworld, the loneliness inside Hades grew unbearable. Even surrounded by endless souls, he had never felt so empty. Persephone's laughter haunted his thoughts like a flame in eternal night. Slowly, longing turned into obsession. Then, one terrible day, everything changed. Persephone wandered, alone through a field of flowers beneath the bright spring sky, when suddenly the earth beneath her feet began to tremble. The ground cracked open with a deafening roar. Dark smoke rose from the abyss as a black chariot burst. From the depths of the underworld, pulled by monstrous shadow horses, Hades stood within it, his face torn between love and desperation. Before Persephone could escape, he seized her hand and pulled her into the chariot. She screamed, "Hades!" But the king of the dead carried her down into the darkness as the earth closed behind them. Her cries echoed through both heaven and earth, and where Persephone disappeared, flowers withered and died. Far above, Demeter heard her daughter's screams. Grief consumed the goddess of harvest. She searched endlessly across mountains, forests, rivers, and oceans, calling Persephone's name day and night, but no answer came. When Demeter finally learned that Hades had taken her daughter into the underworld, her sorrow became fury. She stormed into Olympus and stood before Zeus. "King of the gods, you allowed this," she cried. The skies trembled with her anger. "If Persephone is not returned to me, then let the earth die beside my grief." Demeter cried. The world suffered. Crops failed. Flowers died. Rivers froze beneath endless cold. Winter spread across the earth, and people began to starve. Deep within the underworld, Persephone feared everything around her. Dark rivers flowed beneath black skies while lost souls wandered through shadows. The kingdom of death felt cold and empty. Yet she soon noticed something strange. Hades never harmed her. He never forced her to stay beside him. Instead, he watched her sadness from afar. One night, Persephone discovered white lilies and crimson roses blooming beside a dark river. They should not have existed in the land of the dead. Hades had created them for her. Days became weeks. Slowly, her fear faded. One evening, she sat beside Hades and listened as he spoke. Behind his silence, she found loneliness. Behind his coldness, she found pain. Later, he approached her with a glowing pomegranate. "I know you wish to return home," he said softly, "but even if you leave, I will never forget you." This time, Persephone did not run. She accepted the fruit and ate several shining seeds. At that moment, the ancient laws of the underworld bound part of her soul to Hades' realm forever. Above the earth, winter deepened, and the gods feared life itself would perish. At last, Zeus declared war. Lightning shattered the heavens as the gods marched into the underworld. Hades answered with armies of shadows and spirits. The earth trembled beneath their power. "Return, Persephone," Zeus thundered. "She belongs beside me," Hades roared. The battle grew fiercer with every moment. Then Persephone ran between the armies. "Stop. People are suffering because of this war." She turned to Demeter. "Mother, I love you." Then she faced Hades. "And I understand your loneliness. I want peace." Zeus stepped forward. "Persephone has eaten the sacred pomegranate. She can never fully leave the underworld." Demeter's heart broke. "But she shall not belong only to darkness. Part of each year she will return to earth. Flowers will bloom, crops will grow, and the world will know spring and summer. For the rest of the year, she shall reign beside Hades as queen of the underworld." And so the seasons were born. Whenever Persephone returned to her mother, the world blossomed with life. Whenever she descended to the underworld, autumn and winter followed. Thus Persephone became queen of two worlds, and Hades was never alone again.